Hello, I'm Jim Cassetta, local history librarian, giving you a lecture from home. This is Pearl River Library from home. We're here to keep you interested while we're all sequestered from the flu. I'm going to talk today about the Hadeler Building. Everyone knows it as Hadeler's Hardware, but it was originally built about 1873 or 4 when Julius Bronsdorf established the town. Now, he didn't use the building. What had happened was he contracted with a man named Harry von Wielden from Hackensack, New Jersey. He had a construction company. They came in and they put a brick foundation in and a 3-story building with a spire and a cupola. The man who ran it was a fellow named McNiff, and McNiff really didn't do that much work in the store. His wife Susan did, and Susan, it was known as Mrs. McNiff's store, and Susan ran the business until 1878 when there was a fire. The structure, in about February, it was in the middle of the winter, and it burned to the ground completely. There was no fire department here to save the building or to at least mitigate the damages. So what had happened was Bronsdorf got a hold of Van Wielden again. He and his crew came up via the railroad with their materials and tools, and they built a second building. And this building was also run by McNiff until about 1894. Now, a man named Lewis Hunt came to Pearl River, and he ran the store, and it was known as Hunt's General Store. And this was operated until Hunt put in Hunt Avenue. He speculated in land until he became financially able not to run the store anymore. He sold the store about 1895. Bronsdorf at this time had died in 1880, and he sold it to Lewis Hunt. Lewis Hunt ran it, and then in 1906, George Hadeler I and his brother came up from Brooklyn, New York, and they had a grocery store. Originally, the store was run as a grocery store, because across the street where the Chase Bank is, the Rawweiser brothers had hardware. Now, after 1906, they removed the peak off the cupola, and that's how you can date photographs of the building. But up until after the Depression, until the late 1930s, it was operated as a grocery store where you could buy all manner of foods, dry goods, canned goods, that sort of thing. And what had happened was the two brothers, the Hadeler brothers, split, and George, after the Rawweiser brothers went back to Hackensack, New Jersey, there was no hardware, so George Hadeler I ran the store as a hardware store. Now, you could get anything and everything in the Hadeler store. They were great people to do business with. They just ran it as a small town hardware store, but then expanded in the late 1950s and 60s, where they were supplying building materials, almost like a Home Depot, to local contractors, who, especially Fred Holt and the type of folks, and Richard Kohler, who built houses along Forest Avenue in the 1950s. And they had expanded to where the Gentle Giant Brewery is today. All of that was part of Hadeler's. There was a garage door where you could back up your trucks and fill up with all sorts of building materials you would have needed, like sheetrock and brick, nails, fencing. They had it all. They had everything. So that's the interesting history of that building. It went through fire, sat empty, the foundation anyway, for a while. And then it finally ended with the establishment of big box stores in Nanuet that really put a pinch on the Hadeler brothers, and they retired. All right, well, thank you. That's all I have to say about that building. And I'm hoping to start a new program on a live program where I interview and speak to local business owners who wish to talk about their businesses today, and then I'll talk about the history of the buildings that they were in. All right, thank you very much. Stay safe, and we appreciate all of your patronage online. Thank you.